I just asked if Andy Wilson of the Rugby League Express, have you rung your office yet? If not, will you do so immediately, please?
What's it like on the monitor, Peter?
Not done it yet.
Does it keep in?
Yeah, it's still on. Still haven't got any.
Switch.
That's better. So like, just press that nipple a bit. Look a bit likewise. It's alright close in here on this side.
Let's have a look.
A somewhat belated start sound-wise here at Rydale York for this Division 3 game between Keighley and York. Held up in the traffic with the video equipment. Long last we've got into operation, and in fact it's just in time to see a Keighley penalty. Some 23 metres from the line, almost in front of the post. John Vasilou with the opportunity to open the account for Keighley. Just quickly the teams this afternoon. Keighley a fullback Wayne Race. Three quarters John Vasilou, Carlton Farrell, Phil Ball, Andy Stevenson, Andy Ayres and Darren Appleby are the half-backs, and forwards Greg Keighley, Paul Moses, Joe Grimmer, Ian Gately, Mark Brookcowden, Martin Wood. Keighley subs are Phil Stevenson and Steve Hall. I'll give you the Keighley, the York side in just a moment after the penalty attempt. It's high, it's through the post there, the touch judges, 2 points straight away there to Keighley, 2 minutes on the clock. And the Keighley's, the Rydale York side, fullback Paul Hutchinson, halfbacks Paul White, Nick Pinkney, Gary Atkins, Ray Stead. The the halfbacks Gary Pearson, David Close, and Sean McVean, Stuart Horton, Terry Dunn, Steve Price, Richard Hayes and Chris Hamilton, the forwards. The substitutes for York, Eddie Smith and Steve Craven. The referee this afternoon, Bob Connolly from Wigan. So then the game 2 minutes old, and Keighley already a couple of points in front, 30 metres from their own line then as Moses waits at acting half. Quite a long way from the action visually here, although the camera will be fairly close in for us. Though we may have one or two difficulties identifying the York players. That's the fullback though, Paul Hutchinson, taking that Martin Wood kick. Gets clear of his own 20-metre line before being brought down. And this is Ray Stead for York, looking in field for a way through. Unable to find one though as he gets up and plays the ball. York then some 8 to 9 metres inside their own half of the field. This is the big number 8, Steve McVean, losing the ball, did he? Well, I thought he'd lost the ball, but not so. The referee penalising Joe Grimmer there for holding down in the tackle. The new rule, of course, in operation. No holding down and a full 10 yards. Gary Pace then just puts that ball into touch. Some 15 metres inside the Keighley half. Taking on to Terry Dunn then for York. That was hooker Stuart Horton offloading in the tackle, but the receiver not able to get any further forward. It was scrum half David Close. The move around there with Steve Price for York taking place some 10 metres from that Keighley line. Scrum half Horton gets the ball away to Pearce. Pearce gets the ball on, it goes out via a hand, but there's a forward pass there. Mr. Connolly right on the spot. A lot of juggling going on there between Nick Pinky and David Close. Eventually Paul White it was who crossed, but all in vain. He's only been brought back. That's the scrum then on the 10-metre line with Keighley to feed. Out the back there, it's Appleby gets the ball away then onto Ayres, but Ayres only gets a couple of yards before being wrapped up. Carlton Farrell this time driving the ball in, but it's the big number 10 Turry Dunn for York who does the tackling there. Moses gets the ball out then to Brooke Cowden. Brooke Cowden caught in the head area there by Sean McVeigh.
Nice tip from Ian.
Sean McVeigh using the arm to the chin. Not sure whether in fact the referee's penalising for a head area tackle or the use of an elbow. We shall see from the signal. It was in the head area, but of course it was both as well. So just a quick word there with Mr. McVeigh from referee Connolly. Lets him know that he doesn't want that sort of thing. So then the restart then from the tap. Paul Moses run round with Greg Keighley onto Joe Grimmer, gets into the opposition's half before being driven back to the halfway line. Trying to get up there, but it's Price, Steve Price, not allowing him to get up. We in fact have Steve Price as wearing the 11 shirt, but in fact I think everybody, it's clear to see he's got the 12 on his back as Andy Ayres comes into the play. 5 metres inside the York half. Grimmer taking the ball up again. Gets away from the first tackler and from the second. A good yardage break there by Joe Grimmer. Takes play to within 20 metres of the York line. Appleby does well to take that ball. Martin Wood shrugs away the first tackler over the far side of the field. Plays the ball then. Keighley acting half. Moses looking for a hole through. Ducking underneath the tackles. Arm in the air for the last one, says Mr. Connolly. And it's Ayres looking for a hole, dummies, but gets it away to Keighley, but Keighley's going to be tackled in possession. He manages to offload, and it's Appleby out there now to Wayne Race. Wayne Race has got Stevenson outside him, but in fact it was a forward pass, says Mr. Connolly. Almost similar position to which York were denied a score just a few moments ago. Dunn going on his own there from acting half, unable to get too many yards further forward though before he's brought down, and trying to come round the outside again. It's one in the head area. Referees having no alternative but to apply that rule rigidly according to Mr. Lindop. Anything neck and head has got to be penalised, whether it's careless or intentional. McVeigh driving in there and getting carried towards the touchline by two of the smaller men on the field, Phil Ball and Martin Wood, and a good tackle again by Martin Wood, ably assisted by Greg Keighley on Richard Hayes. Pearce doing very well to hang on to that ball. It was down by the bootlaces, but he gets inside the 30-metre area of Keighley. This is Turry Dunn just driving the ball in, steadying things down for York. Now looking to open play out, but the ball switched back inside by the scrum half to Prop Dunn. Little kick forward there by Martin Wood, hits the foot, no knock on, says Mr. Connolly. Wood drops on the ball, recovers. Mark Brooke Cowden just goes on his own from acting half, gives his side chance to reform from the defensive pattern to the attacking pattern as Joe Grimmer now. Moses on to Keighley. Keighley gets to within 10 metres of the halfway line. Certainly shook there, and Darren Appleby just talking to the referee, saying that there was something illegal going on in that tackle. And Keighley's a big fella, he doesn't go down without reason. And certainly Keighley's not moved, the stretcher being made available on the touchline side just in case. I don't think it's been called for. I think the St John's Ambulance men perhaps a wee bit over enthusiastic here. It's a blood bin substitution being called for. Keighley's on his feet, but certainly the referee wanting a blood bin substitution, so Steve Hall going to have to get that tracksuit off somewhat earlier than he would have anticipated. It's certainly the nose. It looks as though in fact it could well be broken, the way in which Keighley's holding it. To be hoped that he can recover sufficiently to retain his regain his place in the 15 minutes. There's certainly no need for the board to go up there unless it is a full substitution. Ball played back there to Martin Wood via Paul Moses to be put downtown for the York defence to chase and cover, but it's chased and covered pretty well over the far side there by Price. Referee taking them back the full 10 every time, certainly in the early stages of this game. The Keighley tacklers up like firebrands on the big number 8 there. Ball moved back there to Price. He's moving out to the far side, but Carlton Faddle not allowing him to get through the gap. That's Hayes for York, gets to 7 or 8 metres from the halfway line before being tackled, and down goes the kick from Pearce. One very, very lucky take there by fullback Race for Keighley. Andy Stevenson, that look. Keighley then just inside their own half of the field. This is Keighley getting to the halfway line before being tackled. Martin Wood again, going inside the hooker, but only getting 5 or 6 metres in the half. Keighley played that ball very quickly as Moses gets the ball out to Grimmer, but there was a knock on there both ways. Certainly that number 3 there for York knocked that ball on. Certainly Keighley knocked the ball on, but certainly so did Nick Pinkney. Mr. Connolly, the referee, missed the second knock on there, no doubt about it. Pinkney knocked the ball on.
Number 3, Nick Pinkney.
Well, we'll see on the pictures afterwards, but my eyes saw the knock on for Keighley and for York, and in fact we should have seen a scrum down there at the point where Pinkney did the knock on, but instead Mr. Connolly allowed play to go on. And I think York can consider themselves somewhat fortunate to be allowed that try there. No doubt about it in my mind there that Pinkney did knock on, and I think the pictures on tape will justify that suspicion. Pearce then looking to add the extras to that try. It's high, but it's certainly nowhere near the post, so 4 points to 2 the score then in York's favour. Some 13 minutes of the first half gone. Well, the York man picking the ball up there with his feet outside play, but again the touch judge not back to the line to give the referee the indication. Should have seen a drop out from under the post there, as it is York with the second tackle on their own 20-metre line. York then spreading the ball across the field, trying to cut the defence in half. Martin Wood it is, pulled out for a high tackle. In fact, the referee just having a word with Ayres, but it looked to be Wood, the loose forward, who was guilty of that one. Pearce then just to, well, in fact not put the ball into touch, but to take the tap. Gets it away to Hammerton, the York loose forward. Hammerton, of course, from the local amateur club Heworth, just across the road here at Rydale, York. The referee then penalising Keighley this time for stealing the ball in the tackle. The crowd at the far side, obviously the Keighley contingent in the area in vision, and they're not particularly happy with that. And Mr. Connolly at the moment certainly not prepared to give anything, and I think the Keighley contingent particularly concerned that the decisions are in fact going against them. And it's York then driving that ball in just short of the 10-metre line on the far side of the field. Certainly looking hungry for points for York. Plenty of possession, and this is Dunn, gets up, plays the ball, moves the ball out by the scrum half on the run round, but the player comes in and cuts, and there's a try there for York. Certainly quick play there, some very quick hands there by York on the far side. Full-back Paul Hutchinson it was who finished the move off. But certainly some swift play there, and I think Keighley first of all reeling from the loss of Keighley from that tackle on the halfway line. And I think it can be fairly justifiably said that they've been on the wrong end of a couple of somewhat suspicious decisions. The first try with the knock-on, and then the one direct from the kick-off with the player with his feet over the back line when he picked the ball up. And if we're to believe the crowd at the far side, the stripping of the ball in the tackle. The lesson to be learned, of course, is that as far as the Keighley players are concerned, then that they're obviously not going to get the favours. Not that they should, not that either side deserve favours, that's for sure. But they've got to play to the rules and to their abilities. "17 minutes gone then as Pearce looks to convert this second try for York. It's certainly high, but according to the crowd it's missed again, and the touch judges once more agree. 8 points to 2, it should have been 12 if Pearce had his kicking boots on. Certainly still in the dressing rooms at the moment though. And in fact Keighley now returning, that's good news. Keighley returning back from the blood bin. Substitution of course not counting. Martin Wood then puts the ball deep towards the York post. Swingman Paul White there, who plays the ball and gets back to 10 metres before being tackled. Good strong run there through the centre by the York player, and the touch judge is on from the far side. Beats me what the touch judge at the far side can see from 50 metres that the referee a metre away can't see. Well, he must have eyes like a hawk, must that touch judge over the far side, if he can see something that Mr. Connolly can't see from a yard away. True, isn't it? Our camera's right on top of it, you can't see out. York then driving the ball in from that penalty, 5 metres inside their own half still. prop done then. Gets into the Keighley territory, does the hooker Horton. Plays the ball then to the open side prop as it gets into 10 metres inside Keighley territory as Sean McVeigh it is, gets up, plays the ball. Run round there between the standoff and the scrum half of York. All to no avail though, as a man in possession gets tackled. And there's a clever little kick through for a chase. Appleby though for Keighley drops on the ball. And that's ball for Keighley, the Keighley centre there. 30 metres from his own line, looking to gain yardage, but brought down there by Price. Ayres cuts the hole. Ayres opens a gap in the defence there of York. Brings on Wood for Keighley, some 8 metres inside the York half. As the ball goes over the far side there to the wingman. On the far side, Vasilou in possession. On the York 10 metre line, then as the ball sprung across via Appleby, run round with Ayres. Appleby's going backwards, caught round the neck there by Pearce. Mr. Connolly's certainly not interested, but Keighley now as Gately goes through and Keighley are in for a try, but no sir, says the referee. Looking closely for the signal, suspicious of a forward pass perhaps. Mr. Connolly's signal there, not particularly clear and difficult to see just from where I'm sitting because of the stand upright, but I would suspect there was a forward pass in that movement. York then breathe again as Pearce gets up and plays that ball. Price driving the ball in. Outside to Hamilton, the loose forward, taking the ball straight back into the arms of Gately. And York still looking to gain territory. It looks like we could be on for a kick any moment as York not particularly gaining any yardage as they're charging and driving the ball in. It's the last one coming up now. Keighley with both wingers, the ball behind the fullback. Downfield. Taken there by Stevenson on this wing for Keighley, is running across the face of play. But it's second row there, Richard Hayes, he's crept up far enough there to get Stevenson before he gets any further forward as Wayne Race tries his chances, but wrapped up just short of the halfway line. Moses then on his feet, a metre inside his own half. Greg Keighley this time driving the ball in for Keighley. 10 metres inside the York half. Attempted hack back there. Well, the referee giving a knock on against Keighley. Certainly an attempted hack back in the play of the ball by the York player, but Keighley not able to regather properly. And that's Pinkney for York, wrapped up 10 metres from the halfway line. Price, I beg your pardon, Hayes. That's Price, puts the ball down, took his eye off the ball there, did Price, as the Keighley man approached him. And now this is Ayres, threatens to open the defence with a pass and goes on his own. 30 metres out then, on the far side of the field, some 10 metres infield. Keighley just trying to organise something behind the line. There's Grimmer there, certainly the crowd shouted forward and it looked forward from our spot here. 10 metres though now as Keighley approached that York line. Appleby, Owen, and almost a knock on there by Ayres, allowed to get away with it. Ball dropped, was it kicked back, was it hacked back? But the referee's not counting anything back at all, so it went back just purely as far as the Keighley player was concerned. Ball going round, there was a top one as well, a top attempt by number 11, Hayes. And that's Moses with an attempted drop, but to the right hand side of the upright. So we'll see the restart on that 20 metre line for York. 24 minutes on the clock then in this first half as York drive away from their own 20-metre area. Good 10 yards gain there. And that was a nice ball there to Hamilton, but a knock on as well. Hamilton unable to hang on to the pass, but certainly a good pass had he been able to do so. And the chance was open for York to penetrate the Keighley defence, but ball going to ground then, so it's 10 metres inside the York half. Appleby it'll be to feed this scrum once it's set. Ayres on to Race, tackled by his opposite number Hutchinson. Midway between the 20-metre and the halfway line as Appleby then once more operating in the scrum half position. Oh, and he cuts a hole through there. Going round the outside is Appleby, but well tackled and loses a ball. It's gone backwards, has it? Mr. Connolly's going to have something to say about it. A knock on, says Mr. Connolly. The ball obviously going forward before it came backwards. But Appleby certainly finding a hole in the York defence there. Just running out of room on this touchline side to get round the cover defence. Stead gets up, plays the ball, and it's Hamilton this time acting half. On to Price driving the ball out, still just 15 metres from his own line as the ball moved quick to the far side, but the slippery turf not allowing the player there to dig his studs in and drive inside. Mr. Connolly certainly applying the letter of the law to the head area, and it's York looking to make a substitution. Dunn, the man leaving the field, and Craven coming on.
The substitution for Rydale York, number 15 Steve Craven coming on to replace number 10 Terry Dunn.
Pearson putting that ball safely into touch a couple of metres inside his own half. 2 balls on the field. Mr. Connolly just holds it whilst Horton gets rid of the surplus one. Good clever kick through there by loose forward Hamilton, followed up very well there, and it's a knock on right on their own line, on the Keighley line there.
We'll sort it out time. It's only 13 minutes. He's down there somewhere, but you won't get a white match. Look at that sheet big enough. I'll do a white sheet for you in a moment.
Steve Craven there making a hash of that one as the thing was set up for York. This is Gately though for Keighley. York encroaching the 10-metre area there. Player right at the side of the referee. Richard Hayes, the man pointed to by the referee. The referee using his touch judges to mark this 10 metres whilst he stands over the play of the ball. Brooke Cowden then for Keighley. Moses going on his own from acting half, scrambling away from the would-be tacklers as he gets to the 20-metre line. Ayres then on to Ball. Ball steps back inside, hands off the first tackler, looks to get away from the second, still struggling to get away, unable to offload though, so Gately gets that ball out there to Wood, but Wood standing up there looking again to distribute the ball, but there's nobody in support capable of taking it, that is. As Grimmer gets in, loads the ball there to Appleby. Appleby's going, Appleby's still going, in fact he's held inches from that line. He kicks the ball forward. Now, is the referee going to allow that? Is he going to give a penalty? Or in fact it's a dropout? The man, in fact, Appleby put the ball down, kicked it forward, didn't play it to himself, kicked it forward beyond the defence line, dived through, but a York man got to the ball before he could So it's drop out then underneath the sticks. And certainly Keighley's shown the enterprise when they've had the opportunity. And but for decisions going against them with forward passes and that particular one there, they could well have also had 2 tries on the board. McVeigh just been spoken to by the referee after he challenged the decision, but certainly the referee spoke to both sets of players in the dressing room before the game, told them precisely what he expected on the 10 metres and precisely what he expected round the head. Keep them away or you'll find a penalty against you, they were told. And so far he's keeping to his word. Well, Vasilou then with an opportunity to peg back 2 more for Keighley. Well, there it is, there's 2 more. That's what a goal kick is about.
Goal for Keighley Cougars, kicked by number 2, John Vasilou.
Right on the stroke of half an hour then of this first half, bringing the score back to 8 points to 4 in the favour of Rydale York. And I think really in honesty Keighley can consider themselves somewhat unfortunate not to have had a try on the board by now. Pearce then restarts for York, gets the ball deep downfield. Appleby the man taking it. Stevenson the man driving the ball in, and he runs into a brick wall there of two of the York forwards. Went down and led with his head, not the best of ideas. And it must have been like going into one of the York walls and start.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's down there somewhere, it's Gallagher. There's no room here. We'll sort it out with it after.
Play the ball, me moved away from the incident then as Moses then now for Keighley gets the ball away. Brooke Cowden driving in. And it's back there for Woods, drop back to the kicking position, puts the ball deep downtown. Well taken there on the bounce by Hutchinson. Manages to regain his own 10-metre line before being tackled. This is White. And there's a substitution. Not sure it's a blood bin substitution or not, but Phil Stevenson replacing Andy Stevenson as York break down this touchline side. Gary Atkins, the man doing the breaking. Hayes gets into the Keighley territory once more. And it's Hooker Horton getting the ball away onto close. Loses the ball or gives the ball away there. Joe Grimmer, the man doing the business for Keighley, as Ayres now onto Woods. Woods driving through, breaking through there, looking for the support from Ayres, but Ayres in fact running away from him. Certainly like to see Ayres more involved in this game. He's not playing to his potential at the moment, or not being allowed to play to his potential, whichever it is. Appleby then taking the option and going inside, only to see the ground come up to him as Ayres goes in on his own, still running round looking for the holes. The last tackle then indicated, this time coming up by Mr. Connolly as it goes across. A little chip through there by Appleby, but well recovered by the York defence right on the post. Hamilton at the acting half gets the ball away. And that's a good half break there by the substitute Craven, as the ball goes away and out. Last one this time as McVeigh gets up, plays the ball, comes in field for the kick downfield by Pearce, over to the far side, into touch on the Keighley, well, 35 metre line I would suspect there. It's 10 metres inside their own half of the field anyway. Half a break there, just stopped as Race unable to get through. Ball moving over the far side. Martin Wood looking to get the ball to Vasilou, but unable to offload. 10 metres inside the York half of the field. Vasilou coming across infield, looking for the work. Moses then. Keighley missed out. As Carlton Farrell plays the ball to himself, interfered with by Price on the way through. Good thinking there by Carlton Farrell for Keighley. Now as they look for the hole, it's Keighley gets down but loses the ball. Tries to offload in the tackle, but it's the last one. The handover, some 5 metres then from the York try line. Stead for York, just steadying things down and driving the ball infield, giving his defence a little bit of extra width to work with. There's certainly a lot of entertainment provided so far in this half for this quite huge crowd here at the Rydale Stadium. York looking to get away there through the hands of David Close, but his feet not able to keep a grip on the turf, just denying him that speed off the mark and going down to ground. Kick forward there, jumped and dropped on. In fact, the referee wipes the slate clean there as Stevenson gets the ball away to Phil Ball. Appleby then onto Ayres. Ayres moves the ball out to Wood. Wood brings on, looks like Grimmer over the far side. No, it's not. Wayne Race is the man. Ayres onto Brooke Cowden, opting to lead the ball, but that's a knock on. The referee gets the assistance from the touch judge. Ray Stead, in his eagerness to get that ball, just a slight nudge forward. The touch judge indicating to the referee, in fact, that that's what had happened. Ball fed and out to Keighley. Ayres on to ball. Ball looks to step back inside. Grimmer driving the ball in, 30 metres out. Standing in the tacklers, refusing to go down, but referee calls held. Appleby, extra burst of pace there, just almost taking him through that gap. Ten metres then, almost straight in front of the post. It's the last tackle coming up, maybe looking for a drop goal, but no, it's Martin Wood just going to chip the ball over the top for Keighley. And again, Keighley on the receiving end of the tackle of the last in possession. And certainly Keighley have kept York under a considerable amount of pressure without the reward of points for maybe the last 15 minutes of this half. But there's no doubt about it, the York half-back and three-quarters have got plenty of pace, and that's a high tackle. A handout again, it's one of those in the area. It was awkward, it was not vindictive. Mr. Conley will have a long hard talk to Joe Grimmer here, but in fact he's sent him off. Well, I didn't expect that. That's the first time I've seen a referee take the option there. It's the first time I've seen the referee in fact take that option. They don't have the facility of the sin bin for the high tackle. But I don't think Hayes is anywhere near as injured as he is making out either. But certainly one thing for sure, Joe Grimmer is off the park. He'll take no further action in this game. There's a full 41 minutes left. And no matter how good a player you are, you're no good if you're in the dressing room. That is for sure. Well, the crowd just exercising their right to vent their feelings, but in honesty, you'll see a lot worse than that go unpunished. Not saying that Mr. Conley's not right for doing what he's done. I just wish more referees would do that, and then it would get through to the players that the referees do mean business. But somebody's got to be the man on the receiving end. Regrettably, from Keighley point of view, it's Joe Grimmer. Price then driving the ball in for York, some 10 metres inside the Keighley half. Nice ball out there from scrum half close again, not coming to any avail as Pearce is brought down. Pearce operating a run round there with Hooker Horton. Last one, says Mr. Conley, coming up, and it's a drop goal attempt there. And his drop goal attempts are about as good as his goal kicking attempts so far in this half of the game, as that was pretty poor to say the least. That's a good recovering drive and run out from his own line by the Keighley fullback. Martin Wood then for Keighley, being driven back there by Craven. Greg Keighley just doing a driving out job again as Martin Wood puts the ball deep downfield. Fullback Hutchinson using his foot there just to steady the ball before picking it up. Does so and gets back to 10 yards from the halfway line before being brought down. Price for York. Good strong run of this second row, Price for York. A nice ball out again to the far side, an equally good tackle by Carlton Farrell just inside the half of the field. That belonged to Keighley. The referee, the timekeepers call time on the first half. The score at half time then is 8 points to 2 in favour of York. A couple of tries to York, one for fullback Paul Hutchinson, another for centre Nick Pinkney, which I still suspect was a knock on, and the 2 goals from John Basilou. 8 points to 4 then the half time score. Well, the half-time break over. Spectators and what have you regain the seats in the stand. And Mr. Conley gets us underway again. Carlton Farrell not there for Keighley, takes the ball almost on his own line. There's Keighley break out from that 20-metre area, get a good 10 further forward. Referee taking them back, but not taking them back. This is the difficulty, of course, when you get a quick play of the ball, the players just do not have the chance to get back that full 10, and the referee has really got to use his discretion. Safe arms there of Hutchinson, taking that ball out of the lights. York break through to the halfway line once more. And certainly York got the opportunity in the addition of numbers in their favour this half. Keighley, of course, down to 12 men. John Basilou runs right round the back across the far side of the field Does very well there, sweeping the ball up as the pass was intercepted as it was moving out for York, and knocked back by the Keighley player. Vasilou sweeping up, taking play to the opposite side of the field. Keighley driving the ball in then. And this is Ayres out to Wood. Jinkson gets through. Ayres back on the end of the ball. Carlton Farrell outside him, but he's taken down by Paul White. Good play there by Keighley, taking play back into the York half, and it's Ayres. Martin Wood gets a nice ball out to Keighley. Keighley's going through the hole, offloads. Keighley's going towards that corner, and the ball going back outfield I should say, but away from the wingman. The motion stopped then as the ball's chipped through and it hits a York player. Kick back. Is the referee going to wipe the slate clean? He's not indicated yet as John Vasilou gets the ball, loses it in the tackle. Again kicked by a York player. Knocked back in field by York. There's knock on left, right and centre there. The referee is giving no advantage, and so it's going to be a scrum down with the head and feet to York. Keighley doing the initial knock on and York unable to take advantage. The knock on coming from Vasilou. That ball never seen anywhere near those 10 players in the pack. York then just settling things in the centre of the field. The crowd anxious for them to move the ball, but they're settling things down. Back then for the kicker. Places down the field, sees that there's nobody down on duty in this corner, but it's gone into the in-goal area. It's not going to go dead. Wayne Race picks the ball up in his in-goal area, is taken out and driven back by the kicker, Gary Pearce, and centre Pinkney. 2 tackles used, still inside the 10-metre areas. Greg Keighley this time looks to get clear of that line, but halted on it. Moses once more operating at acting half. Good busting run there by Keighley. Struggles to play the ball, eventually does. Ball out then to the far side. It's Little Appleby going down the touchline side. Well tackled by wingman Stead. Certainly got the pace off the mark as Appleby. Hasn't just quite got the sustained pace that's required to go that distance as Martin Wood gets the ball away. It's still the last tackle as Ayres goes through the centre of the park. Offloads to Wood. Wood kicks the ball forward for the chase. And it's kicked dead, but in fact there's a Keighley player being taken out off the ball. Be interesting to see whether Mr. Conley takes any action with this. He's already been very, very fierce on the official, on the off the ball business. And it's no good Mr. Pearce standing over the man saying sorry if he was in fact the man who did it, but the touch judge is on the field at this side. No doubt Joe Grimmer too was sorry he did it, but he's fully dressed in the dressing room, I should imagine now. The referee now pulling out a York player, full-back Hutchinson it is. Now then he should be facing at least 10 minutes in the bin, possibly a red card as well. The chances are that he'll get away scot-free, because the longer the referee speaks to a man usually, the better the chance he has of staying on the field. And he's certainly not going to please the Keighley contingent if he doesn't do anything. He's just having a quick look at the injury, and I think the decision as to what happens to the player who caused the injury depends on the severity of that injury. Just going back and checking, he's doing nothing. Mr. Conley still not giving us the benefit of the signal as to why he's given the free kick. He's just not said anything. He's just indicated to Keighley a free kick, obviously off the ball by Hutchinson, but certainly the length of the discussion and the fact that he looks at the player was very much in the favour of the York player there. He had a quick look at the injured Keighley player, decided that it wasn't severe, but by the same token, he never even considered looking at Hayes when he was taken round the head by Grimmer. And that's the sort of thing that really upsets spectators, his consistency of decisions. Vasilou then punishes the penalty with the points.
And the third penalty goal of the afternoon for Keighley Cougars, kicked by number 2, John Vasilou.
Eight points to 6 then. 6.5 minutes of the second half gone. And with a substitution now being made for York, it's number 14, Eddie Smith, coming onto the field. And loose forward Chris Hamilton taking a rest on the bench. "20 metres out then from the Keighley line as Moses gets highly into the action once more. Rolls through the first tackle. Keighley going down the far touchline, or towards the far touchline side, midway between the 20 metre and the halfway line, as Woods once more puts the ball down, has a quick look to see where fullback Hutchinson is. Running the ball back out, gains a good 5 or 10 metres Hutchinson as he gets play back towards the halfway line for York. Play switched to the far side there, it's McVeigh, tackled round the shoulders, and that's Craven drops the ball in the tackle. Certainly doesn't seem to have a very good safe pair of hands, this substitute forward for York. Appleby then takes the ball, feeds the scrum, out the back to him, onto Ayres. Ayres sees a half gap opening there as he just feigned to come to his left. And this is Wood. Wood again getting to the 30 metre line before being brought down, up quickly, plays the ball. The man doing the tackling hadn't recovered that 10 metre line, and this is a little Moses fella, just loses the ball as he showed as if he was going to offload and decided to take it on his own, but he had in fact in his own mind offloaded that ball and effectively almost let go of it. In and out then, and across the field for York, only as far as Pinkney though. He's tackled 20 metres outside his own try line area as Hayes is brought down again towards that far touchline side. Eddie Smith driving the ball in, approaching the halfway line there. A good break there by the York number 8. McVeigh, a good 10 metres, 12 metres as he gets through. Tries to milk the penalty, but Mr. Connolly not having any of it. The ball going to be allowed to bounce once, twice. John Vasilou not particularly keen on taking that ball, more hoping that Paul Moses would have taken it, but Vasilou had to take it in the end. Moses operating once more at acting half. Wayne Race the man. Keighley looking to his right for some support, decides he's going to have to do the driving in himself. And another good run there by Brooke Cowden, this time for Keighley, hitting the halfway line that the referee says a little nudge forward, again pointing, saying the touch judge it was.
2,346. 2346.
York then just steadying things down in that centre of the field. Ball being lost, dropped in the tackle. Ball it is, who gets away, recovers and gets away some 5 or 6 metres, struggling to get up, being laid all over, but the referee not operating the laying on, certainly as Appleby. On towards Woods, splits the defence, is Basilou outside him, Basilou's going for the corner, and it's a try for Keighley in the corner there. John Basilou finishing off a good break. Martin Wood it was who opened the gap initially, took on the defence, drew them and gave the ball out, and it looks in fact as though Martin Wood also caught one for his troubles there as he offloaded the ball. But Basilou finishing the move there, but certainly it was Martin Wood who opened that York defence on this left hand side and drew the defence. He opened them like a tin opener really, and then he drew the full back and left John Basilou an almost clear run to the line. Martin Wood, though, certainly the Keighley bench somewhat upset about what's happening, or the lack of what's happening by the referee for the off the ball, but certainly Wood taken out as he parted with that ball to Basilou. That try on the half hour then, sorry, we're on 10 minutes into the second half with 30 minutes left, that is, putting Keighley in front, noses in front by those 2 points, and the conversion to come. Basilou currently second in the rugby league as the leading goal kicker, with Dean Marwood from up in Cumbria in the leading position. But he's got 3 out of 3 so far this afternoon. We're just looking now to see whether in fact he can maintain that 100% record. It's a difficult kick. And it's pulling across, but it's just pulled too far across. The wind coming left to right as we look at the field. And certainly a very, very fierce competition, obviously right from the word go here at Rydale York. York clear at the top of the table, but Keighley also need the league points to make sure that they're in the contention for the leadership. Almost what could be called a 4-point game, this one. Keighley driving back out of that defensive area. Moses on his own acting half, or not on his own I should say, thought he was going, but referee penalising there for holding down. I make it on my tick sheet that that's the 4th time that Richard Hayes has been penalised for holding down now. Maybe the victim of circumstances, but nonetheless the 4th time that Mr. Connolly in fact has pointed and nominated him as the man. Ball safely into touch, not many yards gained forward, but nonetheless it was safe. Another good break there. One thing we didn't notice, and that was at half time, that I thought perhaps we might have seen Steve Hall on, but all still on the bench, so there was no substitute changes at half time for Keighley. But there's a little knock on. And the referee stopping the clock whilst he calls for attention to somebody, or he calls somebody out for a quick word. You're just going to have a word there with the 2 number 8s, obviously been having a little bit of a battle in the scrums in the last 1 or 2 times they've gone down. The referee just going to tell them to quieten it down and sort themselves out. The referee, or the crowd at the far side, calling for a knock on. Referees certainly saw it, and it'll be a feed this time to Keighley. Presumably David Close, the scrum half of York, doing that knock on, being guilty. And that's a nice ball, almost forward. Ayres was up so quickly there, it could have even been forward, could that? Out of sight of the referee as Keighley moving this ball now, looking for the area from which they can launch an attack on that York line. Keighley now going in, driving in, taken round the top. The referee says it was on the shoulder. As Ayres now runs round with Appleby, goes inside. Ayres strides for the line. Is it over? The referee says it's a penalty now. That's 3 times that Keighley have crossed that whitewash, only to be brought back by Mr. Connolly. He says it was a double movement, and he's one heck of a sight nearer than we are. So once more then, York can breathe easier again as Keighley denied those 4 points for the double movement. York now starting to drive out. That's Craven, the substitute forward, getting to the 10-metre line before being tackled. And the ball switched inside there. Hayes gets it away to number 4 Atkins. And now this is the hooker looking for somewhere, anywhere almost, to throw that ball. Gets out to Pearce. Pearce gets the ball inside. That had to be forward, but the referee sees it. Forward pass right on the halfway line. Apart from the referee being bang in line, he'd also got a line to help him as well. Appleby feeds that scrum out the back onto Ayres then. Ayres again, looks for the hole, halfway through it, looks to offload, but there's no one there to offload it to. Gets up, plays the ball to himself. There's nobody at home there for York doing the acting, the marker. Moses at acting half back then for Keighley, spills that ball out to the far side to Wood. Wood gets the ball on and offloaded once more. This is Martin Wood looking for the hole, drawing the defence as he does so. York pinned back on their own try line now as Moses Keighley doing the juggling act, handed back by the York player. Not so, says Mr. Connolly. Must have been the hand of Keighley, the white arm. And that's Appleby knocking the ball backwards. Last one, says the referee. Appleby gets up, plays the ball to Moses, out then on to Martin Wood. Martin Wood tries the drop goal, but it goes to the right hand side. So we get the drop out on the 20-metre area. Keighley, of course, should get this ball back. In fact, of course, it's not. It's a restart with a tap following the drop attempt. And that's Price driving out for York. Very pedantic Craven there. Big number 8 there, McVeigh, driving the ball in 5 metres from the halfway line as he gets up, plays the ball. It's over the far side now. Pearce looking to open the defence, and once again York putting that ball down in a try-scoring opportunity position, and it's fill ball for Keighley, shrugging and handing off those tacklers as he goes. Wayne Race this time coming in on his own. He certainly took one there on the top half. Mr. Connolly sees it. Fullback Hutchinson, the culprit that time. And it's John Basilou going to be called in, is he, to attempt for 2 points? But no, they've decided they're going to put the ball into the touch at the far side. Perhaps that wind, and you can see the way the ball bent. The wind just that little bit too strong for a kick from a good 30 metres out. Ian Keighley driving then at the York defence on the far side, 10 metres in from touch. Keighley for Keighley. Keighley turning in the tackle, looking for the man running on, but there was nobody there as Moses once more. This is Appleby. Appleby just taking the extra turn of pace, trying to get through the defence, but not able to. Ayres almost looked as though he was going to kick there, trying to catch the York defence unawares, but they weren't buying that one. This time Moses out there to Appleby. Appleby out to Martin Wood. Well met there though by number 11 Richard Hayes. There's a kick and chase by Appleby. The York player forced to kick the ball dead, and certainly the 12 men of Keighley considerably outplaying the 13 men of York in the first 20 minutes of this second half. And a very vocal contribution in the far side, in the stand from the Keighley area, getting behind the players. As Stevenson then gets that ball and drives in to the 30-metre line before being tackled. Ball going in, head flying back as the tackle rides up. And it's Moses onto Appleby, Appleby onto Keighley, Keighley striding through, looking for a hole. Always on the lookout to offload the ball in the tackle is Keighley. And this is Farrell, Carlton Farrell driving in again. Moses once more operating that acting half back to some tune this afternoon as Appleby gets through the hole. Tries to offload, but Moses unable to hang on to the ball. York doing well to run that ball out almost to the 20-metre area. Hutchinson, the man doing the running out, as McVeigh offloads in the tackle over to the far side of the field, but the man coming back inside, he had the options of two-player overlap at the far side, but ignored that and brought the player back into the ruck in the centre. Hayes going over the far side, gets up quickly and plays the ball. Nice inside pass there, an equally good one, but again forward. The referee right on line with that pass. And a substitution coming about now for Keighley. It's Brooke Cowden's going to leave the field. Steve Hall take the field in his place. Referee sees the fact that the substitution's going to take place. And certainly this fourth official here at York this afternoon doing a splendid job on this touchline side. He's closely watching all the activity, and Keighley, I should say, the man who's leaving the field, not Brooke Cowden. He's had a mountain game, he's played 60 minutes, and I would suggest probably 55 of those minutes he's been carrying that injury to the nose and possibly slight concussion as well. Back to the action though as Keighley get the ball from the scrum. Phil Ball sliding on the turf there. Hall driving in. He's got 20 minutes of freshness on the field now. Certainly attempting to milk a penalty there, but the referee not having any of it. Ayres this time, on to Appleby. Appleby to Farrell. Farrell looking to stride through, but he can't get away from those arms of centre Pinkney. Highly this time for Keighley, driving in. Mr. Conley, arm in the air, indicating the last tackle coming up as Ayres is going to put that ball deep, hoping the wind might hold it. Certainly John Basilou not particularly interested in picking the ball up. Lets Paul White do it, hoping that he'll make an error, but White not making that error. Smith just taking the tackle on the 20-metre line. And the other substitute, Craven, driving in as well as York try everything they can to open this Keighley defence so far in this half without any great success. And again a good tackle there by Martin Wood and Paul Moses, stopping the movement of Hayes. And it's that man Pearce going to put the ball down this touchline side. He finds touch this time, does he? Indeed he doesn't, no. Certainly it would have been a good touch finder with that. Looked as though it was going in, but the quirks of the rugby ball, keeping the ball inside. Keighley looking to get away from that area. Phil Ball, the man, breaking out of the 20 metres. As Ayres this time goes on his own. Certainly come a little bit more into his own in this second half as Andy Ayres. That look forward as Brooke Cowden takes advantage of the lack of the referee's whistle. A yard short of the halfway line. The last tackle coming up, looking for a kick from Martin Wood. Puts it over the far side. Is it going to go straight in though? It is. And certainly the strength of the wind in this half far greater than we can feel here in the back of the stand. So we get the handover on the halfway line. Eddie Smith it will be to restart. 5 or 6 metres inside the Keighley half then, as Smith, acting half, onto McVeigh. And certainly one or two of the York spectators been showing a little bit of disappointment in some of the support play that the York players are giving the man in possession. And Craven left alone there just to drive that ball in. This time it's the hooker going on his own from acting half, but Horton not able to get too much further. He's 15 metres out. Looked as though it might be the last tackle as Craven going on his own. This is the last one though, says Mr. Connolly. Craven plays the ball to Smith. Smith dummies to go over, but he's held on his back, says the referee. And certainly Mr. Connolly's not allowed anything other than the clear-cut try this afternoon. Now that was the last tackle, and as I understand the new rule, that should in fact be certainly the scrum, but it should not be to the attacking 5. It's only in the series of 6, not on the last one where the attacking side gets head and ball. Hayes moving the ball out. Oh, and again another spilled opportunity. A chance going begging by Atkins this time for York. Under no pressure at all, took his eye off the ball, and certainly give away the advantage to allow Keighley off the hook really, as Moses coming through the centre. And a category of errors really by York in some very key attacking positions this afternoon. Farrell going on his own, out there to Vasilou. Don't really think there was too much of a need to try to offload that. There was no room for John Vasilou to operate in on this touchline side. The pass as well suspiciously forward as the ball comes out this time once more to York at the back of the scrum. White going in, running in field, looking for the work. 10 metres inside the Keighley half. Goes on his own there, does Pinkney from acting half. Gets up and plays the ball. McVeigh, the man missed out, the run around. Again, looked a little bit forward there to Price, but the referee not in the line that time to see it, in the defensive line. McVeigh offloads again, and again back to Hutchinson. Going inside is the fullback, but he's held 2 metres inside the 20-metre area of Keighley. Horton driving towards the post, right in front of the post, 10 metres out as the scrum half gets the ball across to Craven on the burst, but in fact, has he lost the tackle at the ball? It's the handover, so Keighley have the opportunity once more then to use this next series of 6 to get clear of their own area. Ball for Keighley, stepping across field, straightening up now. Good clearing run there by Phil Ball. This is Steve Hall, mountain running there, caught round the top once more in the neck head area by Hayes, and Appleby just content to take the tackle there from Pearce as Moses left to run on his own. Midway between the halfway line and the 20-metre line as Martin Wood this time goes on his own, running away from the support. Last tackle coming up once more by Keighley, says Mr. Connolly, as Paul Moses puts that ball high. That's a good kick, hits the post, bounces back, and there's a little sniffer. He's done it again. He did it last week and he's done it this week. Well, little Paul Moses, the opportunist that ever was, he did exactly the same last week, but it was a Martin Wood kick last week that hit the woodwork. Moses decided he was going to have a shot at that himself. He hit the woodwork full on, took it on the rebound, and the little fella got the try that he so richly deserves. He sniffs about all day, he backs up, he chases, and that's a brilliant try there for Paul Moses. Opportunism at its best. The players being told to get back in their own half, settle themselves down, ready for the restart. The game's certainly not over yet. 11.5 minutes still left on the clock, counting down at the opposite end of the ground. currently showing Keighley in a 14-point-8 lead. John Basilou has the opportunity to increase that to 16. He falls on his behind, but he gets the points. And certainly York were expecting the attempted drop goal there, but nobody can take account for the ball hitting the woodwork. That's Lady Luck shining, and certainly Paul Moses made the best of it. John Basilou doing well to pick that ball up as it skidded on the turf on the bounce. Gets away from the first tackler, comes down the touchline side. The third man drops in there. That's a penalty. The referee does give it eventually, but the first penalty is for the flopper. That's the third man. It's not allowed. And there's certainly a third man dropped in there, but I don't think the referee gave it for the flopper. He gave it for something after that. Moses then with the restart on the halfway line as Steve Hall drives away, but the big fella's driven back by the power there of Steve Price. Highly for Keighley, again looking for the halfway line, but the tackling of York there, not allowing him to get there. Ayres then on to Appleby. Appleby looks to pierce the defence once more. Ayres in support that time as Hall drives the ball in once more. And there's no way you can stop a fella like the size of him by going round the shoulders. You've got to tackle him round the legs to stop him. You can't tackle a man his size and weight up there as the ball passed forward there from Appleby. No doubt about that being a forward pass. It was the last time, the last tackle in the series of 6, so York now running the ball out. York certainly going to have to do something desperate here. They can see the minutes ticking away on the clock that faces them at the far end of the ground. Currently 8 points adrift. McVeigh offloads there over to Pearce. Pearce gets the ball out. Price almost tempted to pass off the ground, resist that temptation again. That's a forward pass. And really the two centres rather of York just coming up that little bit too fast for the offload of the pass. And overrunning the ball and having to take it in front of the man. Appleby slowly goes round, feeds the scrum. Ayres on the switch to the far side, but scrum half close was aware of the break by Ayres as Moses now gives the ball out. It's Hall for Keighley. Slowly gets to his feet, plays the ball. Turning as he's about to be tackled there, taking play inside the York 30-metre area. Appleby just looking for the options before he steps up a gear. Moses once more. Brooke Cowden this time striding in, turning rugby union fashion in the tackle, looking to offload. Moses struggling there amongst the York players. Little kick forward by Appleby for the chase by Basilou, but in fact York wing Paul White making a hash of that, losing the ball over his own line and having to touch down. Gives us a restart from under the sticks, drop out with the wind behind him. Pearce getting well downfield. Wayne Race though gets the ball inside his own half, gets to the halfway line, driving at that defensive wall of York, but 5 metres inside the York territory. And that ball hacked back. And in fact Hayes doing well to regather that though there, because he had to have a couple of attempts at it. Pinkney, tackle there by Carlton Farrell, holding his arm in the air to indicate that he's clear. And that's White, unceremoniously put down there in the tackle as York throw the ball out wide, bringing on Hutchinson at the far side. The full-back though tackles some 5 yards inside his own half. Scrum half close, trying to get something operating in the centre area there for York, but he can't find a way through, and he's not really getting too much support from his colleagues either. Long ball out to White, to Price rather, on this side. A good tackle there by Brooke Cowden, but firstly made by Carlton Farrell. Out to Paul White, then White looks offloads, loses the ball. Basilou does the chase of the ball, kicks it forward, it's still there, that man's offside. I thought the York man might have touched that ball, but the referee says no, it's Hutchinson though for York, gets almost back to the halfway line. Adi Smith making a break. 10 metres inside the Keighley half, 5 minutes left on the running clock, plus stoppage time. That's in the hand of the timekeepers though. Lost the ball there in the tackle. The referee's looking for assistance to the touch judge. Keighley regathered, but it's going to have to be a scrum down because you can't just do that there. The ball hadn't been played. So it's going to be a scrum down. It'll be the head and feed to Keighley. Appleby certainly taking his time getting back there, but the referee just having a quick word again with the two front rows. On to Ayres. Ayres now looks to get through, just can't get away from Pearce. Wayne Race acting half back, fancying a piece of the action as quite a few of the York supporters leave this ground. Brooke Cowden driving in. And this is Steve Hall for Keighley, taking the play back towards the halfway line. Ably assisted by those two tacklers who were dragging him that way as well. Greg Keighley now driving in, gets the ball off to Carlton Farrell, but he loses it. And there's another knock on there. That'll be the first knock on that's given the benefit of the doubt, so it'll be a head and feed there to York. Just inside their own half of the field. 3.5 minutes on the clock remaining. The referee wastes play on there. I thought for a moment he was going to blow it up. In fact, I'm pretty sure the clock at that far end of the ground, because my watch says 38.5 gone, it's still showing 3.5, unless that's actually stopping with the signals from the referee. I hadn't particularly taken notice. As close now goes, drives the or runs the ball through, jinking and driving as he goes, but he can't find a way through. 30 metres out then. This is McVeigh for York. Standing in the tackle, looking for somebody to come and give the ball to, but there's nobody available. And close, run round with the number 4, and this is going to be a try now then for York. A little suspect of a run round in the centre of the field. It's Pinkney who gets the try. 2.5 minutes left, and the game's certainly not over as far as York are concerned. They were 8 points behind, they're now 4 behind. There's the goal kick for Gary Pearson. Surely to goodness he's not going to miss this one from right in front of the sticks. His goal kicking ability this afternoon has been poor to say the least.
Thank you for a collection of £208.84. Thank you.
And doing very well there to stop as the ball fell over, because had he hit the ball it would have been considered the attempt. And that brings York back to within 2 points.
2 points added on once again.
2 points on.
Gary Pearce, which is his 50th goal of
There's 2 minutes on the clock at the far end, but my watch says 40 minutes are up. So we must in fact now be looking at the stoppage time. Can only suspect the referee stopped the clock, and that clock at the end hasn't stopped, so that clock actually started 2 minutes after the game started, according to my watch, that I started with the referee's whistle. But the timekeepers are the sole judges of this. That's Hayes driving the ball out there for York over the far side. Keighley are going to have to do some momentous tackling now. They're not going to have to give any penalties away at all. And York now spreading the ball over this touchline side. The 12 rather of Keighley have done magnificently well this afternoon. They haven't got long to hang on. Wayne Race there doing well to gather that ball. He's got a full series of 6 to go. 54 seconds on that clock at the far end of the ground. On my watch we're already 1 minute 20 into stoppage time. Player getting up very carefully and slowly there as Stevenson just drives the ball in. Phil Stevenson plays the ball. That's Greg Keighley. He's not going to take his time. He's going to take his time getting up and play the ball as Moses onto Hall. Hall, he's not going to hold back though. He's going to drive in. That's the last one coming up, says the referee. 14 seconds even on that clock at that end. Goodness knows how many more though there's going to be as Martin Wood driving in. It's the last tackle. And with no hooter. With no hooter gone yet, I make it already 2 minutes 6 seconds into stoppage time. John Vasilou and Carlton, I beg your pardon, Wayne Race tackled in possession there by Price. Vasilou's got to hang on to the ball, just drive the ball across the face of play. There goes the final hooter. Keighley have won. Everybody arms are in the air. The 12 gallant men of Keighley have pulled it off here against all the odds at Rydale York. 16 points to 14 the score. A magnificent display by Keighley. And almost as soon as that whistle goes, half the floodlights go out here at York. Almost as though it's the end of the road for them. They're still sitting at the top of the league, but what a magnificent performance here by these men from Keighley. 16 points to 14 the score. Jubilation all over the place in the Keighley camp. The spectators are on the field. They're showing their gratitude for these Keighley players. Tremendous reception here as the players leave the field. Words fail me for the performance of these lads here, but I think you can see there the applause by the spectators for those players as they leave the field. Magnificent performance, and nice to see they're all going there to the injured Johnny Walker. He broke his leg last week, couldn't take part this week. They've gone there, they've shook his hands as they've left the field, and Carlton Paddle waves to the crowd. Tremendous victory. You'd think Keighley had won the cup at Wembley, but it may not well be far short of that at the end of the day as far as the league's concerned. So then, as we say goodbye from Rydale Stadium, York, with the final score, Rydale York 14, Keighley Cougars 16.